Hi, I'm David Goforth with Cooperative Extension Successful Gardener. Today I'm at Northwest Cabarrus High School with Doug Vernon, one of the vocational agriculture teachers here today. Doug, appreciate you having us up here today.
Good morning, glad you came out.
One of the things of interest I wanted to show people today was this garden that we're in right here. And this is not your typical garden, so what do you call it?
Well, we call it a rainwater garden, rain garden, and it's something we just started last spring here.
What's the purpose of a rainwater garden?
Well, our purpose initially was teaching, obviously, but the purpose that most people would have is to use a resource that's available, water that comes off of roofs or impervious surfaces, and use that to water your plants that can withstand water that they'll be in for a few days possibly, and that's what we're doing here.
So what are some of the advantages of having a rain garden, advantages to the environment?
Well, to the environment is a chance to use a resource instead of watering from your well or city water. Obviously using water that's running off would be a major one. It prevents sediment from getting into creeks. There's a creek down the hill from here, and so we hope that we're preventing some possible pesticides, fertilizers, any other chemicals that might be around from heading down to that stream attached to the sediment.
We should use rain gardens more in residential areas perhaps, so the water coming off our lots and stuff, as opposed to just trying to get rid of it as fast as we can, which was the model several years ago.
Right. I think the environmental reasons are number one, and economics probably would be second.
Yeah. So now tell me a little bit about the process here of how it's designed and things like that.
Okay, well, our process was that I had a student teacher last spring here. She's from NC State and wanted to do a project with her students, and I said, you pick something, come up with an idea, and she came up with the idea of a rainwater garden among some other things. And I said, let's go with this one, agreed to do that. So she got in contact with Dennis Testerman from the Soil and Water Conservation District here in Cabarrus County. Dennis is a real helpful guy, has helped our program in a lot of ways, but in this particular case he came out and provided technical assistance to our student teacher in doing some measurement of the area, finding out how much water might end up in this area. We actually thought first about a bog garden where water would be standing on a regular basis. He said not enough water coming down from this area, but we could do the rainwater garden. So really the initial idea was a bog garden. And so from there then, she got the students involved, actually one particular class where they came out, did the digging, had them do some research to determine what plants might work here, whether they were available or not, either in the area or within the state somewhere. And so it was really her ball that she carried, and I stood on the sidelines and told her who to call, and I did pick up a shovel a couple times, but not a lot.
Right. The location here now, what kind of criteria would you normally look if you were trying to locate one of these at your house?
Well, there's a few things. One is full sun probably would be a good idea. We're right on the edge of some the woods here, and so I think we get about 6 hours, but it's later in the day. And it's only during the summer, spring and fall, we're probably not getting 6 hours in this garden. But 6 hours of sunlight continuous would be real good. Also, you want to be about 25 feet away from a residential or commercial building. We do have a fish barn over to my right that is probably only about 8 to 10 feet away, but it's on a slab, so it really didn't provide a problem. There's some other things that we would probably do a little bit differently. We would and we can still come back and do some of these. For example, we can shave down these sides and make it blend a little bit. Right now we've got fairly straight walls, and so somebody could trip coming along here, but we can come back and fix that. If I was doing this in a residential setting, I'd make sure that it was a gentle, drop gently 6 to 8 inches down, and
that's a good point. It only needs to be 6 inches deep for a rain garden. It doesn't have to be 10 or 15 or 18 or 20 inches like a water garden, right, for example.
We start out about 6 inches at the beginning where the water enters. The water comes from up on the hill up near the main school building. It wanders through our arboretum. At the back of the garden there, closer to the camera, we have probably 12 to 14 inches, and we do have water stand longer at the back, and we've had a little bit of problem there, but for the most part, it's worked out well.
Now, one thing about the water standing, when you talk about standing water, people think about mosquitoes.
Yeah, I do too.
What's the deal on mosquitoes?
Well, if we had water standing here several days, 10 days or so, I'm sure we would have mosquito breeding. This summer when we did have earlier rains, we haven't seen one in a while, but when we did, we would have water here a few days. I would say 2 to 3 days, and I haven't noticed, you know, without doing a real study about it, we haven't noticed a big population of mosquitoes down in this area.
Generally, we find that water gardens as well as rain gardens will both reduce mosquitoes. Rain gardens are less than the time it takes for mosquitoes to hatch out, which is the fastest one will hatch out in 4 days. Most of them will hatch out in around 10 days here. So if you've got water that gets away within 4 days, soil that will let the water go within 4 days, you're fine. If you've got soil that holds water more than 10 days, you want to go to a water garden that will hold water for year-round, hopefully, and that would be a deeper one that would have more water reservoir in that type of soil. And those will actually also not raise mosquitoes. I've seen them before. It's sort of surprised the first time I looked at it, like mosquitoes, you know, but if it stands there clear, you get the frogs, the mosquito predators in, and mosquitoes do not prefer it, and they know that. So mosquitoes are a little bit more particular than we think about with just pure water. So rain gardens and water gardens both will actually have the potential, at least, for reducing mosquito problems. I noticed you don't have any mulch on this. What's the plans for mulching?
Well, the plan would be to bring in hardwood mulch. We are going to avoid pine needles, which is what we put in right nearby here in our arboretum. They would tend to float more, so we're going to, and pine bark as well. So hardwood mulch is probably the best choice that I know of, unless you know something that's better than that.
That works. It stays in place better than any of the other typical choices we have. Now, in this garden, we've got plants planted throughout the garden as you would typically have in a rain garden. The trick on plants like this is they need to be able to stand dry as well as wet.
Right.
And so what are some of the plant choices we've got here?
We've got a few things that didn't make it through the summer. We've got Siberian iris over to my right that's done real well. We expect it to bloom particularly well next spring. It's called Caesar's Brother. Beautiful purple bloom to that. Nice grassy-like foliage that will actually last all summer, and it really looks good throughout the year until the frost. We've got Joe Pye weed, I believe that's a spotted Joe Pye weed, swamp milkweed. We've got hibiscus, a seashore mallow, lobelia or cardinal flower that's already bloomed and is looking rough now, but did real well earlier. And the mallow has still been blooming recently. It looks like it's now started to be past its peak.
Yeah, you certainly see where the blooms were at on that and where the blooms were at on the hibiscus here. And again, the key, we've got a list of plants at the office if anybody's interested, but the key is having plants that will tolerate it both very dry and very wet. And these, the Siberian iris, the hibiscus, and Joe Pye weed are definitely some good choices on that. Be curious to see how some of these others do over time. And there may, again, there's a lot of other choices that would work in this situation here.
We had Coreopsis down in the real wet the area that stays the wettest. It did not make it. Our Davidii phlox did not appear to make it, and I'm not sure. It's in the area where it tends to dry out a little bit more. I thought it would have, so that might have been another problem. Really not sure. We may try a couple of these again to see if that was just a one-time deal or.
That's gardening.
Yeah, that's right.
If it don't work, try something different.
Yeah.
Well, any other advice on somebody that's thinking about putting in one of these rain gardens?
Well, I think I might do something like widen it. I'm not sure that we followed the exact design layout for this. We were trying to capture water that came to a very direct point, and we did have a tree here and a building here, so we couldn't make it wide immediately, but we may possibly could widen it out towards the back of it. That probably would be a good idea. I would get the mulch in more quickly. That might have helped some things this summer.
We typically look at the width being about 1.5 times the length on a rain garden. So the water comes in, and it can be directed. You know, you can use some of your flexible pipes or whatever to direct it to the point where it does flow into the garden and comes in. And if it goes both ways wider than it is deep, that tends to work the best.
This has worked well. It can be improved, and we may even do that in the future. We may widen it out. We definitely will change these sidewalls, and we'll try to keep some of the weeds out as well. We found Bermuda grass likes it both wet and dry too.
Yeah, I wondered about that, taking it on in there. Well, Doug, this has been interesting. What else goes on? What else you got going on up here?
In October, we'll be having a pansy sale here. We'll also be selling snapdragons and small trees that we have available to the public. That'll be in early October. You can call the school at extension 123 and find out more about the details of that. In October also, we have students attending National Convention. We had 2 state winners that will be competing at the national level in Indianapolis late in October. Poinsettia sales that we raise, and we do raise all these plants. We don't buy and just sell. Our students grow them. We'll be selling starting at Thanksgiving, and then spring's a whole nother ball game. We have lots and lots going in the spring. So always busy here, always good things, and we've got a bunch of great kids that are really working hard, have been this summer, and are doing that as school started. They're jumping in with both feet, and we look forward to this Sunday, first of all, for the Sheep and Goat Show.
Well, it's always exciting to hear what you've got going on up here, and it was very enjoyable looking at this rain garden here also. If you've got questions about rain gardens, you can contact me at the office, and until next time, plan and plant for a better world.